From time to time, there's going to be controversies in the guitar teaching community and the guitar performance community. And when those controversies arise, you can count on me to take a break from the work I should be doing to weigh in on those instead. And in today's installment of me delaying making another lesson, I'm going to talk a little bit about a controversy that seems to be bubbling regarding Ichika Nito and his performance videos. Specifically, is Ichika Nito faking in his videos? And if I get the name wrong, I apologize in advance for that. I don't know that I've ever actually heard it said out loud by anyone with any degree of authority, so I'm going on what I have heard. I want to get started first, though, before we start getting into this video, by getting the disclaimer out of the way here. I am not making the case in this video that I, in any way, shape, or form, am a better guitarist, or a better performer, or even a better writer than him. I think that he is very ambitious when it comes to different tunings. I think that the sounds that he is playing with in his compositions are extraordinarily interesting, and regardless of whether they are being reproduced live, I'm a studio guy, so if you can make really cool sounds in the studio, that's exciting in its own way, right? That's one thing I want to get out in front, but one thing that I will say about my videos that I'm not so sure I can say about his is that all the playing in my videos is in fact me actually playing live, warts and all. I even sometimes call him out because I am not hiding the ball. Also, guys, we botch. I think it's really important to just internalize that you're gonna botch, and what you do is you just keep playing through it. Picture of good, solid, competent execution with passion, even with a few warts, to me is what we are striving for. These are some of the performances that got us to pick up instruments in the first place. I don't want to go on a massive rant on this, but I do have one other thing in my preamble here real quickly. This video was, in a way, prompted by Jacob Bra, who put out what is a more Zapruder film-like breakdown of Ichika Nito's playing, and I think a lot of it is on the mark and all of that. But first, I didn't want to just blatantly piggyback on someone else's approach, because I think that's kind of lazy content. And second, as I was watching his video, I think he missed the forest breaking down the trees, and he was doing a perfectly good job breaking down the trees. But I want to get into what I'm talking about. I want to talk about this smoking gun, or should I say smoking jacket, because I think you cannot believe in the sleeve, people, to sound like Johnny Cochran for a moment. Let's take a look at classic Ichika Nito in vintage performance. You'll notice here, as he is playing live on the air in front of a human being. So, if you're debating that he's actually doing this performance, I don't know what your argument could possibly be here, right? I picked this one out because he's obviously playing, right? And what does he do when he's obviously playing? He, like all the rest of us, is going to roll up that right sleeve. Now, you might keep it kind of cozy on the body. This will help reduce some friction. And you might even be, comfortable, if, depending on how your sleeve sort of sits, and where you tend to play, you might be just fine. But one thing about a lot of what he does, right, I am kind of down by the bridge a lot of the time. Unless I'm deliberately going to the neck to bring out some more of that bass frequency and some of those harmonics there. Just, playing up here will bring some of that out. Most of the time, I am hanging out down by my bridge position. I don't have a lot to worry about with my sleeves, or I don't have as much to worry about my sleeves. You know who does have a lot to worry about with their sleeves? Johnny Taps. Johnny Tap's got a lot to worry about his sleeves. Because, like, check it out. I'm going for a tap here. Let's say I want to do it at 17. Oh, wow. My arm all the way up to here is over the string plane. All of this is over the string plane right now. Think about that. And just for the purposes of this example, I wore kind of a poofy shirt. But no, I went a little bit further. I brought a ruler. Let's talk about what the actual distance could, like, what the maximum distance could possibly be between my sleeve and the string plane when I'm going for this. I'm going to assume just amazing wristband. We got the swan going, right? I got the swan here. No waiter, all swan, right? If I've got the swan in the mix, perfect swan, just the queen's form. I have a maximum spread here at the peak of my arch of, dig it people, it's about 2 inches. 2 inches. And that closes in further as I get down to the bridge. And that maximum arc is sitting over my neck pickup. The margin for error here is extraordinarily limited. And guess what? Any good guitar player, which he is, knows that, so what's he do? He rolls up his sleeves. I think you see where I'm going here, but please hold for the entirety of the presentation, or at least drop that like and subscribe down. Let's take a look at a more recent video, or at least something from the archives. This was labeled as like 2 years ago, but my gut tells me this might be older. Again, sleeve up, other sleeve, more cash, because I'm not worried about my left sleeve, am I? My left sleeve, unless it's like, I don't know, like over here and I'm doing like, kind of gothy, broody sort of thing. All right, I guess I might be worried about it then, but anything else, not so much. Take a look at him live recently. Different fashion sense at this point. Again, not editorializing on that. But what I think is real important, for as baggy and as flowing as the outfit is, you'll note that sleeves clearly cleared out to make sure that the man can get up over his board. Now, his approach angle is not as, stark and direct as I was doing it, which was almost like parallel with the fret plane. But you can look again at that approach angle. It's not super, what is it? Maybe, it's not that flat, or not that angled. The word that I'm trying to say is the word that's supposed to be there, okay? So I've got 3 examples here. I specifically picked these out because they are labeled as live. Now, in all 3 of these examples, our friend is dressed in a style that I might liken to a Tusken Raider who has been transported to the planet Hoth, for those of you who are into Star Wars here. It's an interesting look, and we have 3 different videos, all 3 of which are labeled as live. Okay, and they're in front of these orbital cameras. Post-production's totally legal. Let's presume that the amp and all of that is live. I am supposed to assume that he was able to get through all 3 of those takes flawlessly in this jacket, and I want you now to look at this particular frame. I'm gonna leave it up here. You can zoom it on in if you want to. Now, whether or not his shirt is touching his strings in this particular frame is not as relevant to the argument that I am trying to make here. This is not about breaking this down Zapruder film style. I want you to ask yourself a question about the law of averages. Thought experiment. You are playing #LaFast stuff. You're wearing a jacket that is as poofy as that jacket. How confident are you about every single note in the next fast passage that you are about to play? Reminder, the song you are currently playing live is 2 minutes and 41 seconds. You mostly use a clean tone. So the question again is, how confident are you that every single note in these fast, highly technical passages are going to come off perfectly clean and not be ruined by the errant threads of your poofy jacket? Secondary question here in this thought experiment. Would you really be alright with blown takes, not because of lack of technical prowess, or perhaps even being on the cusp of perfect execution multiple times in a row, only to have your take, your good take, completely botched by a jacket in a very technically complicated song that you spent a lot of time working on? Now you might go, I'm not so sure about that. Maybe I could pull it off. Fortunately, I have come prepared with a jacket with somewhat poofy sleeves. Not quite as poofy sleeves. But we're going to do a little comparison shop, shall we? Allow me to toss this jacket on. It's a good jacket. Now, if I have this jacket on, so help me God, if the sleeve is loose, oh, we're already making contact. I mean, I want you to look at that. That's contact. That's contact before I'm even getting there. So I got to make sure my sleeves are all the way up. Poofy sleeves all the way up. Right now, if I try to go for a tap, I am making contact. Let me get the visualization up there. I try to go for a tap in this jacket. I am making contact here on this board. This jacket is a string mute. His jacket is a string mute. This is my argument here. So, the question really becomes then, how much is Ichika Nito faking it? Because, sorry, man, you're touching the strings at some point in those sleeves. You're not going to get me to believe otherwise. We get this jacket off. I don't necessarily need it for the rest of this video. But we need to talk about how much Ichika is faking. It's hard to say, but I think it starts with what he's wearing. And I think as you guys are breaking down these videos, which invariably the internet's going to be doing here, I think a place to start your investigation is looking through these sleeves. How extensive is it? Again, hard to say, not really sure, not really here to make an assessment, don't even have a blank out of 10 judgment on this. I know them videos don't wash for me. I can't tell you about everything else, and it's important to note what is labeled as live versus what is a performance video. Now, does everyone who watches these videos know that some of these videos that have sort of that, off the cuff feel are in fact faked? No, and that's a problem in and of itself. But I think that's a adjacent problem to putting out a live video, a video labeled as live that isn't. And I'm not even getting into the sound breakdown, right? Oh, is there compression on there and all that stuff? I'll again leave that to more technical people. I'm just a guy with a jacket. I'm just a man who loves jackets. That's all I can do is talk about my passions, right? I own a guitar. I own a jacket. I know both of these two objects in front of me, and thanks to the wonders of object permanence, I know that they're going to be there even though I'm not looking at them. All right, how extensive is it? It's hard to say, but again, let's look at the sleeves here. More recent video, this is him, I believe, doing Halloween. There's no way. As you just saw, the margin for error here is 2 inches. Any floppiness in those sleeves, and again, that's maximum margin for error is 2 inches. It's much closer to like an inch or an inch and a half, realistically. That he's got to be touching right there. And I specifically actually did take this frame grab and did bring it back because this one, the wrist is bent in. He is not in relief. He is bent in as he's going for this tap. And that's typically how he likes to go for his taps, at least in some of the videos I've seen, which is going to make your sleeve touch the strings. Again, these aren't labeled live. And these last couple of examples, again, are not live. And they include other artists. But I just want to add one final disclaimer here. We're gonna see Martian in the next video or next clip here, frame here, and obviously the playing and the videography of Martian is above reproach. So his inclusion in this video, just like the person after him, is purely illustrative and is no way designed to play into any controversies that Martian or the person after him might find themselves in. Because, again, especially with both of these people, I was going to say with one, but I mean, really, it's not fair to either one. Both are above reproach, and the whole thing, honestly, would be completely ridiculous. But we do need to look at this poofy sweater, I think. So you'll see Ichika Nito here with Martian. Both of them have poofy sweaters, and both of them are heavy tappers. And this one, again, not presented as real overtly. It's acoustic versus electric. Where's the amplifier? I mean, you can get into the comments and argue with somebody about how you should have known that wasn't real. Okay, I get all of that. But I think we can look at any number of these videos and look at the sleeves of some of these guys, especially if they're very fashionable, and go is that actually a viable sleeve if I'm trying to pull off some of this stuff? And we can see right here in this video, Ichika is trying to play a note on the D string, and from as best I can tell, his sleeve's darn near flush with the bottom three strings. So how's he able to pull that off? I don't know. Again, not labeled as live. So that'd be your get out of jail free card. Last, certainly not least, he's in a video with a guy named Giacomo Tura. Lovely guitar player. And here we can also see Ichika Nito in sleeves. Look, let me get the conclusion on this. I don't necessarily know how much utility it is for us when these controversies arrive for us to break down every single video the guys put out. I'm not saying there's no utility in it, to be perfectly clear here. But I think we can start to top line this stuff and see if it really passes the smell test, the thought experiment test. I think there's a way to kick the tires on some of these performances and go yo, do I really think I could get dressed up as Darth Maul and in Darth Maul's really cool robe pull off a really gnarly tap solo and not be worried about choking out my strings? I mean, I do like being fashionable to show as the next person, but typically when I wear a blazer, of which I got many for shows, the band likes blue, I roll up the sleeves because, especially on the right hand, not so much a problem on bass, but if you're on guitar, your sleeve absolutely can start getting in your way, or the string of your hoodie can start getting in the way. All these things matter. So I might start by looking at the visual cues and see if some of these things wash. And I also do think we need to keep our powder dry to some extent on the stuff that is more close to music videos versus, basically what I'm saying is keep your powder dry and save your powder for stuff that is explicitly labeled as live. I am doing this live, and I've got a ridiculous outfit on, and I'm using a ton of compression, and my string is actually visibly off of the fretboard, and everything sounds perfect. And I'm not breaking down vibrato and all that other stuff. I think there's a clear point of delineation. One is worse, and so I'm not saying don't care about the other one. I'm just saying go metaphorically guns a-blazing at this particular topic, by all means. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. People seem to enjoy the one about Spain guy, self-taught legend that he is. So maybe you'll enjoy this one as well. My name is Chris. If you want guitar lessons, you can go ahead and click on the link in the bio. That'll bring you to the Patreon. You can also support the channel on Venmo as well. Click the like, click the subscribe, share this with a friend, and if you don't like it, go and make a video yourself. Have a great day, guys.